So, to start off, Dr. Mabila Mathebula, today we are going to talk about a rake. So, now, what is a rake, Dr. Mathebula?
Yeah, well, I think to put everything in context, we've been talking about the power of seduction. And I still remember during our last conversation, someone called us and he said that we're biased because we're only talking about women and we didn't talk about men. Now, a rake, is a man, especially one who is rich or with a high social standing or social status, who lives in an immoral way, especially having sex with a lot of women. Or maybe in our own language, maybe he's a blesser.
So do we have So do we have behavioral indicators of a rake, Dr. Mathebula?
Yeah. Firstly, a rake, tries to fulfill, the fantasy of women. Like, for example, women would like to see men like men who are acting in soaps such as The Bold and the Beautiful and something like that. Now, this type of a person, he has got the power of the tongue or verbal power. He can say anything just to entice a woman. He has got the power of the tongue. He uses words to entice women. Like, for example, he can say, I don't love you because you are beautiful. You are beautiful because I love you. That type of a person.
So this type of a person is actually very good with his tongue. Now, how long are these people's relationships, Dr. Mathebula?
Yeah, a rake relationship is something short-lived. He's there for sex, and after sex, he moves on. Now, the relationship with the rake, it's not a long-lasting relationship.
So he's there for what he wants. Once he gets what he wants, then he leaves. Now, are there any barriers to entry for him, Dr. Mabila Mathebula?
No, there are no barriers to entry for him. For example, he doesn't actually respect even your social stratification. The rake can be in love with the minister, in the cabinet.
Yes.
Or a rake can be in love with a woman who's married. For him, there are no barriers. He goes anywhere as long as his instincts, his feelings, his desires, pushes him somewhere. You'd be there, whether it rains or it doesn't rain, he'll be there.
So when he has desire for women, so he just go.
Absolutely. There are no barriers for him. Whoever he wants, he'll try by all means to get such a woman for himself. Now, does a rake go to an extent of even going for women that are friends? Well, he might actually, a rake, he might be involved with women who are friends, as you have said, or maybe he might actually be involved with the mother and the daughter at the same time. He's a type of a person. He doesn't have barriers. He moves whenever he feels like moving.
So what does danger and pleasure mean to him?
That's what he likes, like he uses danger and pleasure. For example, they say something that is stolen, it's more, a fruit that is stolen, it's more palatable than the fruit that you have in the house. There's the question of adventure,
yes.
Pleasure and adventure, risk, and that's the game that he's playing. Like, for example, the example that I gave, a rake may actually go into the boardroom. And then whilst people are coming, maybe they'll be there in the boardroom in 20 minutes time or something. They might actually make love to a woman, in the boardroom, So that type of a person, he's very adventurous.
Now, Dr. Mabila Mathebula, let's talk about how a rake talks to a woman and how does she feel, or how does he make her feel?
Well, a rake makes a woman to feel good, his words, they go right into the soul of a woman. He says something that actually uplifts this woman. something that goes into the soul. As I said, I don't love you because you are beautiful. You are beautiful because I love you.
So basically, the words that the rake actually uses are the words that are aimed at impressing women.
Yeah, absolutely. He wants to impress them, and it doesn't matter, how a rake looks like. He may not be handsome, but when he speaks, there's that transfiguration. His voice would actually go into the soul of that woman.
Now, what does the what type of woman falls in love with the rake?
Well, those who are actually vulnerable are virtuous women, as documented in Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31 talks about a virtuous woman. Now, a woman who's very innocent, a woman who actually has preserved themselves throughout and the like, they fall into the trap of the rake more often than not.
Now, Dr. Mabila Mathebula, since you have been a teacher for quite some time, a long time ago, do you have any example that you actually want to state, Dr. Mathebula?
Yeah, there was a lady teacher that I used to work with. She was a perfect creature. She was very beautiful. Fortunately, I knew her from our university days. And then when I looked at myself and I looked at her, I actually thought that, you know what, she didn't actually fall within my class. It's like a woman would actually say, I'll see type yam. At times you need to gauge yourself. And I realized that the way she was so beautiful, I made my, an introspection that I was not really her type. She needed some other, men. I was not a type really. And then, fortunately, when I started teaching, we happened to teach at the same school. And she came 2 years earlier than me, if I'm not mistaken. And teachers were very fascinated. Teachers proposed love to her. They dated her. All sorts of things. To an extent that one of the teachers also spoke to a lady teacher. They went to an inyanga, or a traditional medicine man, just to get this woman, and all his efforts culminated into failure. Roughly 85% of teachers propose love to that woman, and then she turned them down, and eventually there was a teacher in the making. A teacher was studying at the College of Education. Now he came for practical exams at our school. And all of a sudden, that guy fell in love with that woman. And people were surprised. As we were surprised, the woman was rendered pregnant. And within no time, she was dumped.
So those are the doings of a rake, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. That woman was a virtuous woman. She was brought up in a home that was very religious, and then she preserved herself. She was never touched by a man before she met that man. And that man went into her, rendered her pregnant, and he left. That's where for the first time, I understood how a rake operated, and all of us were devastated, and we felt that I wish this woman went to one of the men who used to propose it, but in fact she went for a rake, and the rake rendered her useless, and the rake dropped her or dumped her.
Now, Dr. Mabila Mathebula, today we are not quoting, we have a vocabulary cabinet. Now, the vocabulary cabinet is back, Dr. Mabila Mathebula. What do we have on the vocabulary cabinet?
Yeah, we have got the word, I can see vision is there. We have got the word ephemeral. ephemeral is an adjective, meaning lasting for a very short time.
Now, which is actually a very interesting. We've got rappers here. We are going to see if there are those that are ephemeral, and we are also going to see if there are those with staying power, what is called longevity. So the antonym to that will be longevity, Dr. Mathebula.
Yeah.
So
lasting for a very short time. Yeah,
lasting for a very short time.
Ephemeral.
Okay. Now, what is an example that you can give us?
Yeah, well, I can say that women must actually know that a relationship with a rake is ephemeral, and I could also give another example. You know that women detest ephemeral sex.
Women detest ephemeral sex. That is what Dr. Mabila Mathebula is saying. So that is actually a quotable as well. Now, a woman must know when the relationship with a rake is ephemeral, meaning that, a rake relationship is actually ephemeral, meaning that it is going to be very, very short-lived. Now, many women fall into the hands of a rake. That is the word that we have actually in the vocabulary cabinet. Dr. Mabila Mathebula, I would like to say thank you so very much for coming through. It has been a long time. It feels like it has been years, but you kept it together, Dr. Mabila Mathebula. Thank you very much.